Hi, welcome to Storyvan TV. We're so glad you're here today. I'm Bonnie McDonald Dixon, and I am thrilled to introduce you to Linda Ann Stewart. She has created for over 32 years Heartvision Consulting, and she's down there in Arizona. We were just talking about the heat, but she is a hypnotherapist, a mindset coach, and she does consulting to help small businesses, and this is important, to design their business, and so that they can go to the next level and reach their dreams. A lot of people of us start a business and then we're kind of languishing, but I want for you, and I know Linda Ann would like for you to go to where you originally dreamed about. But there's a little problem for some of us. Sometimes we hit this wall called the shiny object syndrome, which I bumped into. And Linda Ann, welcome again today, and share with us a little bit about you and the shiny object syndrome for small businesses.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm really looking forward to this. And as a vision empowerment strategist, I really help women business owners who've gotten stuck. And then a lot of times what happens is when they're stuck, they start reaching for anything to distract them or to try and get moving again. And they try one thing, and then they go on to another thing, and then they go on to another thing. There's opportunities, there's ideas, all sorts of things around them, but they never are able to pick up any momentum with it. And so they just keep cycling around with running around with shiny object syndrome. And it can be really frustrating.
What does that do to their self-esteem as well?
It really drops their self-esteem, their self-respect, and it can actually affect their own relationship with themselves, because if they say, "Oh, I'm going to do this," and then they don't, they've they violated a promise to themselves. So it drops their self-esteem. And then other people, if they've said to somebody else, "Oh, I'm going to do this," and then they don't, it can affect others' respect for them as well.
Yes, absolutely. I've heard that for myself. Oh, I'm going to lose the 30 pounds and didn't do it. Or, oh, I'm going to go do this and I didn't do it. Other times, of course, I have done what I said I'm going to do, and it feels so good, and it can feel so bad. So you help, Linda Ann, people not feel so bad because they get stuff done.
Yeah, because when you are able to achieve a goal, the brain is a goal achievement machine. It loves achieving goals. And so when you achieve a goal, it feels good, that the reward centers light up. And so you want to achieve another one. But and actually that kind of feeds into the shiny object syndrome, because the brain also likes novelty. It likes new things. And so if you're frustrated or distracted, or you're feeling bad about something, you want something new to kind of make yourself feel better. And so it's a band-aid solution. It's a short-term solution, but with long-term consequences. So the shiny object syndrome, can actually make you feel good in the short term, but make you feel worse in the long term. But you're doing it because it does light up those reward circuits and makes you feel good.
So can you give us an example of someone, without their name, of that you've worked with that had that, and like the before and after? What would that look like for someone?
Well, I had a client who she was having problems with her business. She had several employees. She knew she wanted to grow her business, but she kept herself distracted with clients that really didn't appreciate her. And also, she was micromanaging her employees. And so she was distracting herself. And again, just shiny object syndrome in her case was she was keeping herself scattered and distracted with all these things that she really didn't need to be paying attention to. And so when we sat down, figured out, okay, where do you want to go? What do you need to get there? Because she knew what she needed to do to get there. She just hadn't actually started doing it. And as soon as she kind of, okay, let those clients that weren't appreciating her kind of, I don't want to say she didn't let them go, because they're still part of her life, but she decided to de-escalate their importance And then she let her employees do what they were trained to do. And she started focusing on opening up new channels of business, and her business soared, just absolutely soared.
I have a dear friend, Kathy Powell from Seattle, from Powerfully Organized. And what she said about that was, do what you do best and hire out the rest. And so do you see a lot of that for small businesses, that they're trying to do everything?
Unfortunately, with entrepreneurs, because we are on shoestrings, we tend to have to do everything, especially at the very beginning. And then when we can hire somebody, we're so used to doing it ourselves, and we think, oh, it's going to take too long to train them. It takes me less time to do it just myself. But yes, the beginning part of the training takes more time, but then the benefits later on of you're not having to do it pays off. So yeah, I see that a lot as well. And also because we're doing it ourselves, we get that short-term bump of reward chemicals.
So does it also look like someone taking class after class and, things of that nature, where they just keep saying, well, I've got to learn more. I've got to learn more. Is that another shiny object?
That's another shiny object. There's also, if somebody thinks about working on, like, let's say social media. Okay, let me try Facebook. Oh, I'm just starting. Let me try Instagram. Well, I'm just starting that. Oh, let me try LinkedIn. Let me try that. Let me try Pinterest. Let me try Twitter. And then other marketing opportunities come to them, and they try them a little bit, but they never really work them through to see if they are going to meet their needs and meet their expectations.
I just had that happen myself. I said, oh, I'm going to learn TikTok. And then I actually signed up for a little class and did a few, and actually people watched them, and I'm like, oh my goodness. And then I found the screen was too small on my phone, and it was hard for me to do. And it doesn't work as well on the laptop and sort of thing. But I just thought, well, I need to do this. Everybody's doing this. They're telling me how great this is. But I also realized, as you said, maybe you try it, but if you realize there's no value there, you can let it go.
Exactly. And I actually took a TikTok masterclass type of deal, and I got, it's like, that sounds really interesting, really good, but is it a shiny object for me?
Right.
And so I kind of pulled back and thought it through, and I realized how much time I'd have to put into it every day, in addition to the other things that I'm doing. I thought, nope, at least not now. So yeah.
And someone possibly could be hired to do that if that's what a person wanted to have done, I guess. Who knows? I don't know. What are some of the other ways that people see shiny objects?
Avoidance, believe it or not. If you're trying to avoid a dreaded task, or you're unwilling to dig into dealing with a problem that's come up, some people will call this procrastination, but they'll go look for something else that they can do, something that's easier, something that's more enjoyable, and that can be a shiny object. There's also FOMO, which I'm sure you know what that means. FOMO.
I've heard of it. All of a sudden I'm blanking on it, but I have heard the term. Yeah.
Fear of missing out. So it's like, you're always chasing ideas and opportunities because they're new, and everybody else is like TikTok. Everybody else is doing them. So that type of thing. There's also, believe it or not, the fear of failure or the fear of success.
Okay.
So that if you have that fear, one of the things is that you don't follow through on anything. And so you jump to something new to distract yourself. So there's all sorts of things.
When you're guiding people with your classes and your masterminds and the different things that you do, maybe, and your one-to-ones, I'm sure, what do you think the number one thing is? Finding out what their shiny object is and helping them see whether it's valuable or not? Is that part of what you work
That's one of the things that I do is okay, what is your shiny object? What is it? What's your trigger first? What is causing you to start chasing the shiny object? what is the thing that throws you off track?
Okay.
Is it one of these other things? Or, and then what is that thing that you're doing, so that, because first is awareness.
Mm-hmm.
The first thing is awareness. And so you have to figure out why you're doing it and then what it is, so that later on, when you notice yourself doing it again, it's like, okay, wait a minute. This, I'm trying to distract myself. I'm getting off track again.
Mm-hmm.
So that's part of it.
Bringing awareness for them. It's like an awareness tool in a sense.
Exactly.
So,
exactly. And then what we do from there is, okay, now that you're aware, how are you going to respond to it? Because a lot of times people will react, and reacting is simply reacting, acting in a way that you've done in the past, which may have served you then, but probably doesn't now. And so it's like, okay, stop, take a breath, think it through. What do you want to actually be doing? How do you actually want to respond to this situation? What's the best way, the best course of action for this? And so that's why I call it deliberation, being intentional. So instead of just being a knee-jerk reaction, you're actually thinking things through, and it takes more time, and it takes more energy, because you are having to do that. But what you are doing is you're training yourself to be aware and being able to be conscious of what you're doing.
Is hypnotherapy part of the whole process that you're working with?
I don't use hypnotherapy with my coaching clients unless they ask for it. But what this comes from is what I learned from my hypnotherapy practice about what people needed to actually achieve their goals. And so I have a deep knowledge of the subconscious mind, of how it works, what it needs, and how it's going to try to trip you up. It doesn't realize it's trying to trip you up, because what it's doing is it's acting on old programs that you've put in there, and it's trying to keep you safe. It's trying to keep you safe in a time in the past, not in the present.
Got it. Is it stressful for people? I guess there's a cost to looking at shiny objects and keep doing that over and over again. And then there's a cost to change behavior. And that's one thing. And then I guess even going to a shiny object class, for some people, would that be a new shiny object? But in this case, it could change everything for them.
Well, that's why with the workshop I do, somebody asked me, can I just do the workshop without the mastermind? It's like, no, because again, from my hypnotherapy background, it takes 3 months to actually change a habit. And this is a habit.
Okay.
You have trained yourself. If you do it consistently, if you chase shiny objects consistently, it's become a habit. So we have to break that habit and install a new one. And so it takes the 3 months. So if they just came to the workshop, people go to workshops all the time and they never execute what they learn. I mean, we all do that. Exactly. We all do it because, I mean, we remember, we pick out maybe 1 or 2 things and maybe we'll use those.
Right.
But a lot of times people don't. It's again, that it can be a shiny object. And that's why it's like, I want only people who are really willing to make the transformation for themselves. And so in the workshop,
they would be committed to change, because there's something they want or need, and it's there, but it's been elusive so far. And there's this one thing stopping them, and that is that they keep going like this instead of going like that.
Exactly. And yes, it is stressful, because when you are always running around in circles, it's stressful. And when you're stressed, you cannot think straight, literally. The mind is dealing with the stress. The subconscious mind is dealing with the stress, and it cannot make good decisions. It is simply reacting. Okay.
That's super important for people to understand. Could you say that again? I like that.
I will put it in another way.
Yeah.
When you are stressed, you are reacting because you don't have the mental wherewithal to come up with a new idea. Okay. The second part of that is when you are stressed, you are in a mild state of hypnosis. So what you are telling yourself in that situation is going to become essentially an auto suggestion, and you are going to act on that suggestion automatically.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So those are two things with stress that can be really, really damaging in this situation.
Mm-hmm. So there's a cost to that shiny object syndrome. There's a definite cost to continuing that journey. Um, Knowing what you know, are there certain businesses or maybe no, not businesses, personalities? That's it. Personalities that tend to want to lean into that more than others.
Yes, I would say that there are. There are some people who are ADD, but believe it or not, ADD people can focus very well.
Wow.
I've worked with them in my practice. And when somebody said they would come in to me and say that they had ADD, it was like, oh, good, you're going to be real easy to work with.
Okay.
And that goes against what some psychologists say, but I've got the personal experience, the professional experience with it. So, but also people who like the novelty,
Mm-hmm.
they really love novelty. They like to get things started and they don't like to follow through.
Mm-hmm.
Those are people. So it has its personality, but also it's a training. We have trained ourselves with our phones and the computers and TV to not be able to pay attention as long as we used to.
Mm-hmm.
Attention or focus is a skill that you can learn.
That's
And
wonderful.
see, and that is what I help people to relearn
Mm-hmm.
is how to focus.
Mm-hmm.
And people will try to escape it because it's like, well, it's not fun, but it gets things accomplished.
So that's a good question too, is age grouping then. Would, I'll just gently say, younger people that have grown up with the cell phones. I learned later in life, oh my gosh, I got the cell phone, and but now I notice it's on my hip all the time everywhere I go, and I'm wanting
Mm-hmm.
to look at it a lot, but I've cut back. But would you say 30, let's say 30 to 40 or 40 to 50 or 50 to 60 is there a group that's struggling with this more?
Probably younger people, and not just because of the cell phones and all the technology, um, but it's also because their minds are a lot more jumping around, a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
And they probably have not learned to focus as well in school. Now, some who've gone through higher education, they probably have learned.
Mm-hmm.
But somebody who hasn't gone through higher education or hasn't had to really work at learning
Mm-hmm.
probably doesn't have the same focus that someone in the older age group might, who has had to. But then again, you come down to women who become moms, who learn to multitask, and they think, oh, if I can multitask with kids, I can multitask anything. You can't,
Mm-hmm.
because working with kids, you multitask with kids, you have to deal with that, you have to deal with the phone, you have to deal with the dishes, and those are all essentially low cognitive things to do. Those
Mm-hmm.
are low cognitive activities. When you're trying to balance your checkbook and create a budget and answer the phone, and you have employees coming to you and asking you questions every 10 minutes,
Yeah.
those are higher cognitive activities. So you really can't multitask because because what you're doing is you're task switching.
Okay.
Whenever you are doing a task and something else comes up, you have to switch from that task to the other one, to the next one. And then it takes you about 15, 20 minutes to actually get focused on the first task
Oh boy.
again. Yeah, that's why multitasking really is not productive.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, I just watched a TED talk about a woman talking about a second, and the second was she was distracted driving. So
Yeah.
it affected the rest of her life.
Oh,
And
yes.
yes. So sometimes it can be fatal.
Yes, it can. It absolutely can.
Yeah. And sometimes probably fatal for a business if, because it is a machine almost, you get all the parts going and you're dealing with employees. And if part of it's off kilter and not working right, it will affect in the long run a business. They
It
can't
will
keep
affect everything.
going, with a flat tire. It's painful.
Yep, exactly. Exactly. And so being able to balance all those issues out, and
Hmm.
then again, staying focused on what your vision is.
Hmm.
And your vision is, say, a year to 3 years down the road. Because again, in my hypnotherapy practice, I learned that if someone came in to see me, let's say stop smoking, lose weight, self-esteem, stress reduction, or whatever,
Hmm.
if that was their goal, so that was their short-term goal. But if they didn't know where it wanted to be with it in, say, a year or 3 years,
Mm.
most often they would end up right back in my office within 6 months to redo it again. And it's a trick of the subconscious. The
Hmm.
subconscious mind is a goal achievement machine. It
Hmm.
says, oh, that was wonderful. We achieved that goal. Let's backslide so
Right.
we get to achieve it again, so we get to feel good again. And
Got
so
it.
that's why you need a vision. So once you've achieved this goal, you have the next one. And then you have the next one. And then you have the next one. And each one of them, you know that you're moving forward with it.
Hmm. That is very clear to me what you're doing. And it could be for others a place to really reset themselves and get on track to achieve their goals. What is the best way for people to learn what you do and reach out to you? And what's upcoming for you in your practice in sharing with what you know?
Well, I have a free a guide sheet. It's if you want to achieve your goals and you do it with more ease and powerfully in 4 steps, you can get my free planning guide.
Ooh, that's
And
exciting.
it comes with a free training video that walks you through the planning guide with tips and directions of how to support you in accomplishing that goal. So it's essentially a 90-day goal. So I
Okay.
call it a 90-day vision. So it's a short-term vision. And you
Mhm.
can register for the video and the planning guide. And you can do that at setyourcourseguide.com.
Okay. Now I see you also have your website here, Linda,
Mhm.
and at the bottom it's ticker taping through here, Linda Ann Stewart .com. If they go there, can they find that same information as well?
Absolutely, it's on the homepage. It's very prominent. And then I am actually doing, when I was talking about the workshop and the mastermind,
Oh,
we actually use that planning guide in the mastermind, because with the workshop, it helps people to work through. Again, we talked about what you're doing,
hmm,
why you're doing it, and then tips and techniques and tactics uh, to support their clarity, focus, and then propel their business forward. And then we transition into the 3 month mastermind where you have that 3 month vision that you're focusing on. So the mastermind trains them how to focus.
wow. So get clear, focused, back in control to achieve your personal and professional goals. Um, I think a lot of people are literally out of control. And this could be the clear track they've been looking for.
Well, I hope so. And I
Yeah.
hope whatever that they can take from, and that my website also has lots of articles on it that they can
Okay.
use to look through and figure, work through, because they're
Mhm.
not just fluff articles. They've got to do steps in them.
Oh,
And then I've also gotten over 100 videos. Same thing, mindset coaching
wow.
books.
That's
So
amazing. Linda Ann, I'm going to be a shiny object for a long time with 100 videos. Just see. But what I see about that is you're giving to people, and then as they get to know you and want to work with you, they'll know who they're talking to, and they'll
Mhm.
understand what you share, and how you can gift them with that, releasing the shiny object and getting down to what they really really want,
And getting on course with it. Exactly.
and getting on course with it. We so appreciate you coming on Story Van TV today. It's always fascinating to learn all the ways people can literally get what they want. It's achievable, it's
Mhm.
doable, and sometimes we need a helping hand. And Linda Ann can do that for you if you truly want to achieve your goals. And so, with that, we're going to say thank you so much, Linda Ann, today, and ringing off with Story Van TV. Thank you again for coming. And don't forget, she's got a free gift for you.